he heard about my episode talking about Sabbatianism, and I guess he assumed that I was going to say, like, this is what Jews worship, and I was actually saying the exact opposite. So I messaged him privately on Twitter, and we had this wonderful back forth speaking about how Jewish people and Christians actually need to unite and to do the research and to root out these satanic people that have infiltrated both of our faiths, including the Muslim, the Islamic faith as well. There has been an infiltration. And so we were having this back forth, and I was talking to him, speaking to him about these Frankists and how they literally came to America, and the evidence of that is everywhere. And particularly, yes, this is how the ADL was born. They were born of B'nai B'rith. B'nai B'rith was this Freemason chapter that was based in Atlanta, and Leo Frank was the president of that chapter. He was incredibly wealthy. He ran a local pencil factory. During Passover of 1913, he viciously raped and murdered a young Catholic girl named Mary Fagan. Okay. Now, this I am bringing up again because this is something that if you are Jewish and you're interested in history, this is something that you could read a book on, and I think that it would plant a seed for you, that there are people that are purporting to be Jewish that are lying to you about things that have happened historically and getting you to defend these horrific people, like Leo Frank was a horrific person, on this false idea that what happened to Leo Frank was evidence of anti-Semitism. In fact, there's no evidence when you actually read the facts of his case that anything that happened to him was anti-Semitic. And yet, if you look up this entry on the Leo Frank case on Wikipedia, again, the ADL has controlled it forever, they are still trying to shift the blame of this horrific murder, which I believe was a ritualistic murder that took place because I believe that he was a Frankist. He descended from Jacob Frank. They are still trying to sell to the public that it's plausible that the black janitor did it. That is explicitly racist, okay? You have to be a moron, and I'm saying this with love in my heart, to believe that in 1913 Atlanta, okay, in the segregated South, that the judicial system decided to collude, right, to protect a black janitor, a poor black janitor who raped and killed a white girl. Like, that is just, it never happened. And yet the ADL is still trying to sell it. Because when you get into this case, you recognize that they are an evil organization. And it's terrifying to think that this evil organization, who in my view does not support Jewish people at all. That is not their purpose. In fact, like I said, I believe that they are a Frankist organization, as best evidenced by the fact that the ADL, right, decided to remove the Azov Battalion, the ones that are carving swastikas into their bodies, the neo-Nazi Azov Battalion in Ukraine. Well, they conveniently removed them from the hate list when suddenly they wanted to get behind the war in Ukraine, okay? A person that would remove literal, actual, verifiable neo-Nazis that have carved swastikas into their forehead from the hate list in order to further Zelensky's purposes are probably not looking out for the best interests of the Jewish people, right? So that's just a little nugget for you guys. Look into that case and recognize that not only was Leo Frank incredibly wealthy, they were essentially running this town. Again, he was the superintendent of the factory. His wife was an unbelievably wealthy woman. There's a picture of him right there. He looks evil to me, okay? Named Lucille Selig. If you think with all of that money and all of that power, and he tried to blame it on multiple people, not just this poor black bandit janitor. But there was so much evidence. The evidence was so overwhelming that when that little girl came to pick up her paycheck, that he got her into the office, he lured her into there, raped her, and then killed her, and then tried to get the janitor to write a letter so that he could offset his crime onto a poor black man. Again, so overwhelming that you will just be like, what is going on? And there's little tidbits, of course, that are not included in the Wikipedia entry, like the fact that they hated Christians. They did. Okay, that's a fact. You can actually look at this book that was written as the comprehensive account of the Leo Frank case by a man